right, so it happened. Onision documentary part 4 came out. A lot of people wanted to know if I was going to talk about it. Well, here we are. I have my placebo of non-alcoholic peach wine. Is it going to work if I know it's a placebo? I don't know. Here's to trying. Right off the bat, I do want to say it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was bracing myself for the absolute worst. I thought, okay, well, here we go. They're going to attack YouTubers again. They're going to threaten demonetizations on drama channels that don't agree with their narrative or don't like them because they're a competitor, right? So I didn't really see any of that. I was also bracing myself for Chris Hansen's face, which is, you know, just unpleasant, and then the Steven Asarch guy or whatever, however you say his name, they weren't in it aside from their brief little appearance at the very beginning. They had a little cameo where it was like previously on in previous episodes, this is what happened, so you saw a little bit of them there, but then past that, they were not a part of it. Which in retrospect, Discovery Plus, this episode was good enough to actually give you guys some respect. I wish that you had never used Chris Hansen. Maybe you could have talked about him briefly, but to give him this platform as though it was like his show, I think was a huge mistake. The Steven guy was a mistake. The attacks on YouTubers was a mistake. This should have just been something that you guys did an investigation on yourself and provided evidence and made it more of the style of what you actually did in episode 4. But because the other episodes did happen, it's really hard for me to give you guys the credit, even though like I was leaning that way. I'm just gonna stay neutral with it right now because I just can't. I can't. Sorry, you screwed up big time. But before I get into the craziness that is this final episode, I hope it's the final episode, dear God. Before I get into that craziness, I do wanna thank today's sponsor, Adam and Eve. If you go to adamandeve.com, you can use my name, Jaclyn, Jaclyn, for 50% off any one item and free shipping, which is an amazing deal. And of course, I did an unboxing video that I will link in the description below, so click on that. Watch all the amazing things that they sent me. A lot of cool things in this unboxing, so you don't want to miss that. Check it out and check out Adam and Eve. And hopefully that discount will give you guys enough kindness in your heart to forgive me for this video, because I know that it pains so many of you that I'm making yet another video on this, but Jesus, they keep making documentaries. When will the documentaries stop? I'd like to think they're done. I thought they were done before. In my last video I made about this, I was like, yay, part 3. The best thing about part 3 is that it's the end. The only good thing I can say about part 3 is that it was a final part and now this shit's done. I'm so happy to stop talking about Discovery. Or so I thought. Well, let me tell you what, going through this, now I already had my like opinions on Onision. You guys know that. I've made no mystery of it. But going into this, like, I'm surprised that watching this whole thing actually lowered my view of Onision. I thought it was already rock bottom, but there were some things in this that I didn't know that disgusted me. I guess I didn't know all of the details of the story with her, and to find it out was just, we'll get into it, but it was bad. It makes Onision, well, actually, I'm not gonna say it makes him look bad, because his own actions are what make him look bad. It's like a pet peeve of mine when people say, you made me look bad, when they're literally just pointing out things you did. Onision made himself look bad, and this just put a spotlight on it, which managed to lower my opinion of him even further. There can be miracles. Now, Sarah did agree to be in this episode. I saw a lot of people saying that she didn't seem like she wanted to be there, that it seemed almost as though she was kind of like backed into a corner and forced to do it. Which to a degree, I mean, I kind of see that. Like, she didn't really have much of the anonymity that they had promised in previous episodes. I mean, they would blur her face, but you knew who it was. They would show the title of the YouTube video that she was in. Like, it would take 2 seconds to find her. If it were me, I'd probably at that point be like, okay, fine, might as well tell my own story from my mouth since they're doing it for me anyway. But as I tweeted earlier on, I truly do hope that she went into this and felt good after, that she felt empowered. She deserves to feel that way. I think she represented herself well. She is a strong person, and I am happy that she is bringing herself to this point of speaking out against Onision. I just wish it weren't done in such a seemingly forced way, but my hope is that she felt comfortable and really truly did want to do this. And by the way, my fat ass was sitting on the couch watching this whole thing, so I just literally used my phone to record the screen, kind of like how I did in all my other documentary reviews, but for some reason now I feel the need to tell you.
The fact that Onision was demonetized and not deplatformed makes it so clear that YouTube isn't listening to the victims.
I have to agree with this, and there's a whole conversation that we can have maybe a little bit down the line in this video about demonetization versus deplatforming. If your presence online is dangerous to other people, either with what you do with that power off camera or what you do on camera that hurts people, if it's bad enough, if it's serious enough, I think deplatforming is valid, and I don't care if that poses a risk to other channels on YouTube, myself included. I know a lot of people say, well, you know, if you talk about controversial things, someone could make the argument, but I feel like there's a clear difference, and if there's not, that's a risk I'm personally willing to take, because I don't think that any of these girls should have been in this situation. I think Onision should have been removed from YouTube back in the days of Shiloh, and if that had happened, so much hurt and damage could have been completely avoided. I also do want to point out that a lot of attention in this documentary is put on Onision, and as deserving of that as he is, I think a lot of that should go onto Kai as well. And yes, although Kai is mentioned quite a great deal, actually, it's never the same level of abuse. It's never the same level of severity, and I don't think that's fair. Honestly, I think a good case could be made for the roles to be reversed and Kai to actually take the majority of blame for a lot of this, but that is just my opinion. I mean, you can only give sympathy points that there's a marriage to Onision in the picture for so long before you kind of take a step back and look at all the harm caused.
Hey, how old are you? And I said, I'm 14. And Kai had said something along the lines of, oh, you look a lot older.
Pet peeve of mine that Discovery Plus does this. I don't know why they have to put like actual text message. Just show the text, but whatever. When you have a 20-year-old, I'm sorry, you should just know better. This is what I'm saying. You should just know better. But at the same time, Onision's like, what, almost 30 at this point? Super weird. In 2016, Kai and Greg invite 15-year-old Sarah to visit them at their home in Washington. Now listen, this is something that I regrettably did. Onision actually flew me out to his house to do videos together. I was very much an adult. I was in my late 20s at the time. But thinking about another person doing it that's 15 years old, I'm sorry, I can't justify it at all. Even if the intention was just hanging out, content creation, making videos, being friends. Whenever you're like 20 and 30 years old, to invite a 15-year-old girl to your house under no circumstance, friend or not, work-related or not, it just doesn't seem like the thing to do.
I remember Lainey had brought up the fact that if I were to come and visit, even though it wouldn't be legal for us to have sex, would it be okay if we just kiss? Like, it's not illegal for me to just make out with you or kiss you, right?
So it was sexual right from the very start. Like, even bringing up that, it's illegal for us to have sex, so we can't do that. Like, as though that's the reason, the legality behind it, that it's not just weird on its own, disturbs me, that, because it's illegal, that's why. I mean, I'm sorry, to me, all of this is bizarre. All of this is bizarre. Like, I cannot wrap my head around it. But then to say, but we can still kiss and we can do things of a sexual nature, and the flirtatious nature of all of it, obviously, which is vehemently denied later on that there was any hint of that. It makes my stomach turn a little bit.
I trusted Kai with my whole heart.
The power of attorney thing really creeps me out. The fact that they had power of attorney over someone, that if something happened to her, she even said in the documentary, if I were a vegetable, they could decide to pull the plug. If something happened to me and I was in the hospital, they would have the legal authority to make decisions for me. And to me, that is just insanity given the mental capacity of the people that we're talking about here. But then they said once that happened, the dynamic shifted. Things got a little bit more serious, and they kind of downplayed Onision's role a little bit. They said that there was one moment where he brushed her hair aside and looked into her eyes, and it was kind of awkward, and that he would make inappropriate jokes or possibly have inappropriate conversations, but nothing really went much further than that. And to me, they focused on that quite a bit. Whereas you have Kai the entire time professing their love, essentially, to Sarah, to the point of whenever Onision would have like a fight with Kai, Kai would reach out to Sarah and start looking for houses online, planning a future together, saying, hey, if Greg and I get divorced, we could get married, right?
If Greg and Kai were having a bad fight or something, Lainey would just text me and be like, Zillow time. And we would go look at houses that we would move in together and run away.
It's amazing to me too, keeping this in mind, keeping these major story points in mind, that Kai could ever deny wrongdoing. The fact that there isn't more admission of guilt, that there isn't more of a conversation about Kai. Like, I know Repsion made a lot of videos, but other than that, like, the major focus is normally put on Onision. And to me, like I said, an argument could be made for that to be reversed real quick. But I do understand that a lot of people are saying that because they view Kai as kind of the gateway to Onision, or that Onision was using Kai to be the one to go out and get these relationships started that he would eventually, require that he could be a part of too.
I knew Greg could never be in a three-way relationship where he didn't also get to be with a girlfriend.
But like I said, all of this was completely just flat out denied.
I'm being accused of grooming minors, having inappropriate relationships with a minor. She has only ever been my friend. We have never dated. We have never had a romantic relationship.
How can you say that? Given the conversations you've had and the things you've done, how can you, clearly there's just a flat out denial, because to admit it would be a pretty serious thing. So it's just a lie, which is what Sarah says.
What are you you're lying.
So this is about the time that things start getting really intense online. Kai and Greg start facing a lot of backlash, and they then basically pressure Sarah to go on the internet and lie that nothing has ever happened. And we all remember that clip very well.
We never did. I didn't want to say that all the allegations were false because they weren't. It's not fair to me and it's not fair to him, and I wish this would all stop.
And like everyone suspected, she admits in this documentary that was all pressure that was put on her, and that she was forced to lie, essentially, or she would lose this friendship that meant so much to her. Complete denial. Meanwhile, Onision is texting nasty ass shit like this. Like, come on. So Onision feels at this point backed into a corner, and that's where he came up with this whole, I'm just gonna turn the tables and accuse her of R-word me. She forced me to have sex with her. It was all blackmail, and I was R-worded. And so is Kai. We're both the victims in this. This young girl came in, and she just forced us basically to have sex with her. It wasn't that we pressured her. It wasn't that we were literally in bed having sex in front of her and then pulled her in. You know what? And I'm not even going to play the clip. I can't play the clip of this because honestly, like I did feel kind of nauseous. I mean, maybe it's being pregnant, or maybe it's just so disgusting that like the thought of this happening actually made me feel physically ill. But she was talking about how they were doing that, and that he pulled her into it, and that she had never even kissed Onision at this point. So that it was just the first time for everything immediately all at once. And I just, for him to then be the victim is pretty mind-blowing, and I'll explain how he rationalizes that. It makes no sense, but I'll explain it in a second.
What's the first time that you found out he was accusing you of raping him?
He texted me and he was like, I'm surprised that you're going public with this, knowing that you blackmailed us and raped us.
And this is something that he's been talking about for a long time too. It's something that he's mentioned in the previous video I made, and all the email threads that he sent to me in the group chat. He's mentioned this online many times. He has an entire video talking about how Sarah even apologized for this. Like, it's pretty insane.
And that's the person who's on episode 4. Is this person who blackmailed me into having sex with him. That's like, dude. Because now you're forcing someone to sleep with you out of fear.
Okay. So it's time for me to explain this. So Onision decided, like on the nth time that they flew her out to see them, that they were going to have her sign an NDA, which made her pretty understandably uncomfortable. And her and Kai had gone back and forth, kind of joking about the NDA, making it lighthearted, trying to convince her to do it. And her joke was like, yeah, well, if I get to be with you, or only if I get to be with you, or something. She was flirting. She was trying to be sexy with Kai, Her interest was never in Onision, just saying. So when they brought up the NDA to her again in person, she was like, yeah, I mean, if I get to be with Kai. And that's that's it.
I said, hey, Sarah, we should probably do an NDA. And so Sarah said, and I quote, only if I get what I want. And we were all in bed, and everyone knew she meant SEX.
That is their blackmail. Now, in my opinion, if it were real, even if she were seriously like, I'll only sign this if you agree to have sex with me, anyway, even if that is exactly how it happened, then guess what? You send her home. You make her leave, right? If this NDA is so important and you won't sign it, then you can't stay here. At what point does a rational person be like, okay, well then my only option is to have sex with this very, very young girl. I can't think of anything else that I could possibly do. Send her home? No. The only argument that he could make to me in response to that is that something may have happened prior to her signing the NDA that he wanted to retroactively enact it for, which at that point, it's on you, man. You already messed up. So you can't, if you even bring up the NDA when you're in bed together, that's on you. Why are you doing that? They did force her to sign it the very next morning, and there was nothing in it, by the way, about any sexual, To me, the fact that he's making such a reach of an argument is pathetic. No one believes you, Greg. No one takes this seriously. There's no way you believe your own bullshit here. Also kind of sus that you want to make somebody that young sign an NDA. Why? What are you trying to hide? I'd get it if she were an employee only and you didn't want her leaking your financial information. You didn't want her leaking things that you didn't want to get out online that were related to your work or your business or possibly even your personal life that did not pertain to that person. I can understand an NDA in that light. But if you are trying to be romantic with someone and you want them to sign an NDA for your personal relationship, that is super, very weird. I don't think anyone should sign any NDAs of that nature. That's just me, though.
I already used documented evidence to support my case. If you go to ecn.com and you scroll all the way to the bottom, it says facts and evidence.
Yeah, this is his list of facts and evidence. It's pretty ridiculous. He could literally have written anything here, and what he did write was just so stupid.
And that person is going on the show and acting like, woe is me, after they already confirmed in the conversation January 23rd.
January 23rd. Well, that's not what you have on your documented evidence, Onision. Better get your facts straight.
Literally put me in a lie detector. But again, I'm a cis white male. I have no chance.
Yeah, I made fun of that in my last video on Onision, that he's just, all of this is happening to him, not because he's a total shithead and, abuses his power. It's not because of that. It's because he's a cis white man. Of course, it's not because he did anything wrong. No.
She said, how? And I said, well, because you forced us to sleep with you and because you said you was.
No. Wait. That's not how that went down.
Of course, Sarah says all of this is ridiculous because it is. I mean, what? I'm surprised they brought it up to her, honestly, at all, because it's so out there.
He wants everyone to believe that he's the most honest YouTuber. He has a huge God complex.
Yes, he does. He thinks that he can do no wrong. And I don't know if it's and you guys tell me in the comments, because I go back and forth on this a lot, and I think I have in previous videos. I can't tell if I can do no wrong, I'm innocent, everyone else wrongs me, I never wrong anyone, I'm the most honest, amazing person to ever exist ever, my shit doesn't stink. I can't tell if that mentality is something that he honestly believes, or if it's just an act that he puts online to kind of protect himself. I can't tell. Let me know in the comments. He honestly believes it, or it's an act. Please, vote. I'm honest, I cannot decide. I waver, and I really am on the fence on it.
If anybody disagrees with him in the slightest, he will just nitpick at every little thing that's happened so that he is never wrong. He can never be wrong.
This is true. Look at almost any person that has been in his life. This is what he does. He destroys every relationship that he's been in. He destroys every friendship that he's had and turns everyone out to be some kind of horrible person that victimizes him. Which is why my last video on him was titled, Onision's actually the victim, you guys. Wait, hold on. he's the one that's been wronged. Because I mean, that is how he plays everything out, every single relationship. And then they did throw this up at the end. If you or someone you know has experienced online grooming or predatory behavior, please contact, and here is the phone number. So I'm gonna put this here as well. So if you guys do experience this or know somebody experiencing this, I really hope that you reach out and get the help that you need. I do wanna wrap up this segment on Sarah though by saying I am proud of her for doing what she did. Not that that matters to her or anyone, but she did say that Onision probably viewed her as someone who would never stand up for herself, as like an easy target. And she certainly was not that. She put him in his place, she stood up for herself, and I hope he gets what's coming to him. And that's not just getting demonetized. To me, getting demonetized isn't enough. And like I said, there's a whole conversation around that, if it could lead to another adpocalypse. And I mean, I guess it could, but in my mind, nothing is more important than people being safe, than getting people off of the internet that cause real harm. And I'm not just saying you watch a video and someone says something that hurts your feelings. This Onision entire story is a situation deserving of more than just demonetization. I'm sorry, I think it does call for losing his platform. And that's all I want to say about that. I truly do hope this is the last documentary out there on Onision. I hope that this is the end of it. That would be really nice. Part 4 was definitely the best of all of them because, well, I mean, in comparison to the other ones were pretty shit. That's really not saying a whole lot. But this one was decent. I wish that they had conducted themselves as they did in this one throughout the rest of them, because then maybe they would have actually gotten some real respect. But you guys wanted me to talk about this. I know that I have been covering this storyline pretty heavily, so it makes sense that I get the very last episode out there too. So I hope that you like this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like I said, vote on my dilemma. I really don't know what to believe anymore. And just also thank you guys, because I know this is like a negative kind of like downer of a video. There has been a lot of positivity in my life lately, and you guys have been so supportive and kind and loving. So thank you for subscribing to my like new family vlog channel. Like not every video I make is depressing like this. I do have fun. I do like other things. So thanks for hanging out with me over there and like celebrating baby stuff. It's not all dark and gloomy, I promise. But yeah, lots of fun things happening over on the vlog channel. So if you search Frank Family Vlogs on YouTube, you can find it, or go to youtube.com/JaclynVlogs. Hang out with me. I just did a gender reveal. If you don't know what that is yet, you can go ahead and check it out. Go over there and subscribe. Also, thank you to everybody supporting me on my merch store, ffvmerch.com. You can get tank tops like this, cute little sweaters. Oh, actually, I have a sweatshirt. It's hard to move when you're this large. But there's black ones and there are these blue ones, and I like the blue ones a lot. But yeah, that's our little logo. These are really, really comfy. I like that they're lightweight and zip up because it is hot. It's hot where I live. I don't know where you guys are, but I'm in Tennessee now, and shoot! Thank you for checking out the merch store if you want. Thank you to everybody supporting me on Patreon, patreon.com/Jaclyn. Like this video, subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you guys in the next one. All right, bye!